Gnyp Gnop. It's Friday, December. What is today? The 3rd? I believe today's the 3rd already. We're only 22 days away from Christmas.
It's the turd.
Greg Gnyp. I'm the turd.
It's the turd.
I'm Greg Gnyp. I'm the Gnyp side. That makes kind of sense. There's Chris Yasinski.
Yes.
Of course, he is
Hi,
the
everybody.
Gnop to my Gnyp. How are you, my friend?
I am recovering from our trip to Detroit.
I know. You know what? It's weird that, it's weird. I don't want to ever say that I took Detroit for granted because I never did. But when I would be over in Detroit sometimes 5-6 days a week between doing stuff for the radio station, my friends, and then being married to an American. You're in the States a lot.
Right.
So 5-6 days in a row, I'd be over there doing something. And then all of a sudden it was, 18 months, 19 months of not visiting the city.
Yeah,
honestly, for the last couple of days, I've been like, I was in Detroit. It's so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Honestly, giddy for crossing the border, except the funniest part is you and me hitting that, the halfway point where it's the flags are up there that says you're now entering, the Canadian, the American flag, and the two of us looking at each other. Are you getting nervous going into the I haven't hitting the border made me nervous.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's never, just would drive through. Hey guys, how are you? It's like, what?
Yeah, I had sweaty palms for sure.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, so Greg and I decided that we would take a trip to Detroit on the first day that they opened it up for Canadians to go freely back and forth without the without the COVID test, unless we were staying more than 72 hours. So we decided, hey, let's go, because I hadn't seen my office area for almost going on 2 years, and we also wanted to make a couple little trips around Detroit. So we embarked on this. Really strange thing happened. We hit the Canadian side of the border and hit the wickets there. No cars. Absolutely no cars. And this is around 11:30 in the morning. So we drove through, no cars on the Canadian side as you look through as you're entering the tunnel. In the tunnel, no cars. Either way. We were the only ones there. It was really creeping us out.
There may have been a tumbleweed.
Yeah, I'm thinking, were we being set up here? Is there something going on? Did someone not tell us something? Is there a warrant out for my arrest? And so we ended up going up into, really when you kind of start doing that turn, going into the U.S. Plaza area, that's when we went whoa, this is really creepy. And we actually went up to no cars, 2 wickets open, no cars again. We drove right up into it. And the guy's like, citizenship. I'm like, both say Canadian. Takes a passport and he goes, when was the last time you were over? And I said, dude, it's mid-March 20. And he's like, yep, that's correct. And then you actually gave him a date of the last time you were over. It was
March the 15th, 2020. It was the 30th anniversary concert of They Might Be Giants.
There you go. And I got to tell you, it was really kind of weird because no one asked us about our vaccinations. No one asked us about anything. They said, okay, when are you coming back? We said around 2 o'clock. Okay, enjoy your day. And that was
I do have to say, though, the one thing that he did say that made me feel good. He said, welcome back to our country.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He really was.
He was a great guy. And you know what? Saying welcome back actually kind of made me go, aw, shucks. Thanks, guys.
Shucks. Who uses shucks anymore?
Well, golly gee, Beaver,
Holy smokes.
It's the new kinder me. It's the new kinder Greg Gnyp.
Yeah.
I'm leading up to Christmas.
Good God. But yeah, so we had a really good trip.
And and that was the thing. And the thing was, again, it goes back to that whole thing where, so much of my life, I said, my divorce, it's going to sound funny the way I'm going to throw it in this way, but my separation and divorce actually got me to learn more about Windsor than I did from the time, the day I turned 18. I spent as much time in Detroit as I could. I mean, even though the clubs are 21, you could still get in at 18. And some of the clubs, you always knew somebody who was 21 who could slip you a beer or something like that. So I pretty much never knew anything about Windsor. And I knew Detroit.
Greg, we're not advocating for underage drinking.
No. But I'm talking 18 to the whole thing. Going back on Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday, almost felt like rediscovering the city again. It was kind of funny because I knew everything so much, but driving down Woodward, and we're like, oh, they put in new windows there, and things like that. It was kind of funny how I kind of knew so much about the Detroit area. Then all of a sudden, for 18 to 20 months not being there, a lot has changed. A lot of things have kind of moved around and stuff like that. And it was good to see, but it's good to see some of the old standards are still there. Yeah,
you're right. We kind of did this little trip up Woodward, and you're right. Little Caesars corporate office finally got the windows right. I mean, they had like 2.5 years of changing windows because they kept leaking. So it looks like they finally got the windows right because there's no more scaffolding up in front of it and no one's working on it. So,
or there's a lot of duct tape on the inside. You just don't know that.
I mean, it's really cool that their windows are pizza shaped. If any of you want to Google it, it is a very, very cool building. But the reality is, with weird shapes comes lots of leaks. So
yeah. Trust me, I'm kind of a weird shape, and there's leakage everywhere.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. But no, it was fun, and the thing was, it's like, so it started making me think about like Detroit, right? It's like, we went. It was that first thing. It was like, well, after we did what we had to do, you had to go to your office. Yeah. I had to go to the bank. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, well, what do you want to do? Where do you go to eat? And it was like, all of a sudden my brain went, where do you want to go eat? Because let's be honest, Detroit's got some amazing restaurants. I mean, we weren't looking for the fancy shishi sit down type meal, but it was like, it's like, where do you go? Like, so it's that whole thing. When I used to have people come into the area, I used to give them kind of a tour of different restaurants. And, some of the iconic places to me, we ate at one of them, Soshimiko's.
Yeah.
Right? Soshimiko's. When you're at Soshimiko's, what do you have to do there? Flaming cheese.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
A margarita.
Or a liter of it.
Well, yes. Yeah. And then everything else to me is fair game. I mean, we did the nachos, but I mean, you could get the batana, whatever, anything else. Right. It's, Soshimiko's, though, is in Mexican Town, is an iconic trip to the Detroit area.
You're 100% right. And we're not saying that, we don't want to get in this argument, that Soshimiko's is the best Mexican restaurant in Detroit area. I've got a couple of favorites that are actually far out of Detroit. But it is that classic place that you have to go visit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. And in the one of the things that I like, and I think it's called Maria's Tamales. I think that's it. It's Maria's Tamales. Right across the street. If you want to get tamales, oh my God, you go in there and you can pick them up and take them with you, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you don't get that in Windsor. You don't get that in some of the other cities. But thank goodness that it's awesome that the Detroit area has the Mexican Town area.
Right.
And it's delightful. And you turned me on to a new hot sauce.
Well, you know what?
That I had no idea it existed. I knew the weaker version existed, but I didn't know the hot version existed.
Right. So when I go to Mexican Town, I have to stop by. There's a grocery store right in the middle of it, and I have to stop by there because they're the only ones that I know of, kind of in the region. Because in Canada they don't carry it anymore. Is Valentina's hot sauce, which is not so hot but super, super flavorful, right? But there is a black label version of it that is the hot sauce.
Well, see, Valentina's you can actually find sometimes in Windsor.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right?
But not in the big bottles either.
But that black label, I had no idea existed. I've never seen it anywhere else. And you turn me on, and it's delicious.
Yes, so that's a must stop as well on your journey, because you need to kind of replenish all of your supplies at home.
Oh yeah. So then I started thinking about, like, things in Detroit. When you're going to Detroit, there's a lot of times for us it's the it's the entertainment we're taking advantage of. We're going there to go to a concert. We
Right.
had to stop in front of St. Andrews Hall because, to me, St. Andrews Hall is
There it is.
there. It is.
That's right.
Look at that. And it's kind of funny because usually we'd have one of our friends lying on the pavement behind us. So, next time we do the tour, we'll probably have one of our friends passed out on the street corner.
You'd expect John Bria to pop up from back
Yeah,
there.
well, yeah. Ah, look at that. Hey, John, I was just resting my eyes. But, St. Andrews Hall, I mean, I have seen so many amazing concerts at St. Andrews Hall. Bands just up and coming, that was their first time they ever played the Detroit area. Next thing you know is they're playing, they're playing they played the Palace of Auburn Hills, or,
Right.
Joe Louis Arena and stuff like that. It's, if you've never been to St. Andrews Hall, I don't even care what concert it is. Just get a ticket and go see the show. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very personal place. So it holds about, I think, legally 1,000, but I think they put like 1,400 in there on shows. We've always had this debate. Remember, the Mirror went way back when, of what the actual number is. And then they also kind of built onto it and built large catwalks on the sides, right? So you can actually have more seating room up top in the balcony area. So a lot has changed, but it's a very intimate place to watch a show. And one of my early shows of an exact artist that you're talking about that was small and then exploded was Katie Lang doing one of her cowpunk tours early in her career, and it was like an August night, and she just lit the place up, and it was totally packed, and it was unbelievable and incredibly warm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I do have to say I did see one show there that that to this day is probably still one of the greatest concerts of my life. I've seen, because of my years of being a concert reporter for 89X. I've probably seen 5,000 concerts, and this one still stands out. And it was Soundgarden opening up for Faith No More, who was opening up for Voivod.
Wow.
And that 3 days later, I was still answering the phone because my ears were ringing and I thought it was the phone. I'm like, hello.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was absolutely one of those brilliant concerts. You think about three bands like that back to back to back, and it was absolutely incredible. So St. Andrews Hall is one of those places.
Absolutely.
And of course,
Yeah, sir, go ahead.
No, and one of the other places that I used to love seeing shows, and a lot of people don't remember this one, but was the Latin Quarter.
Yep.
I saw Nine Inch Nails there. I saw Delight, Ride played there. Just wow, Peter Murphy. It was just Sisters of Mercy played there. It was amazing, and it was just. Detroit had some, that was just like that cool music hall that kind of lasted just a couple of years. They kind of brought it back from the depths of despair, fixed it up as best they could, and then I believe the city said, yeah, you know what, there's still some structural damage here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to last.
There was a lot of iconic shows that we went to. I mean, I can imagine. I remember Pixies early on doing a tour, and Frank Black came out, or Francis Black, or Black Francis, whoever the fuck he wants to be this week, comes out, and he starts getting a shock off the microphone. And after about the second song, basically throws his fingers up at everyone and walks off stage. That was a classic Pixies moment. And
oh, sorry,
no, and don't forget the 18-minute set from Jesus and the Mary Chain.
Oh yeah, that was one of the classics where they I don't believe they actually ever turned their back to the audience. It's like or turned around to see the audience. It was
just
like,
a wall of noise.
And of course that Pixies show, that was the show where for a while there that they banned glass bottles at St. Andrews Hall because of the wave of bottles being thrown at the stage.
Yeah, and you can imagine back then. I mean, it needed an electrical upgrade, which probably wasn't done at that time, right? So on a hot, moist night like that, you would get a lot of different grounding issues on that stage, and it was just a Pixies moment. That's all I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, and of course, Detroit iconic places are Coney dogs.
Yeah, yeah. There's a number of people who would argue that with you, depending on what city you're in. But I think in Detroit, obviously, we've got the two that are right next to each other, right downtown, and then there's a third, which the name escapes me, that a number of people say is one of the best in the country. So, but again, we went for Mexican food. We didn't do Coney.
I know. You know what though? Part of me, but and then the other thing though, I do have to say, our next visit back though, I am going to take you to one of my favorite places.
What's that?
And it's going to be it's in Corktown, and it's the Mercury. And we're going to go to the Mercury because we're going to do all their tater tots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do all sorts of tater tots and delicious things like that. You know, their tater tot nachos, pretty delicious.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to take me to the Hotel Yorba.
Well, you know, yeah. Yeah, it's fun, right? It's kind of funny how we stayed as far away from it as possible, because I do have to say, you know what? I'm not making any jokes, but you know that it's a little sketchy around there.
Yeah. It was a little sketchy because, I mean, we were following in, I think, a Salvation Army kind of rescue van.
Yeah.
To actually get that shot. So anyway, we got that, and that's kind of in honor of White Stripes. And I think I was even telling you the story that I was eating at Pegasus in Greektown, which is another great place to eat. You know, it's really fast, especially if you've got a really big group. I know when we do large races, I'll take the entire team there and have just a big Greek meal. There was one night when Jack White and his whole family were a couple tables away from us eating. I must have been in for some trip for Detroit, maybe to check out his studio and his shop, and spend some time in Detroit.
I think it's awesome, but now one of the things we did have to do, because you were told that your daughter and your family needed their Pizzapopolis pizzas.
Yeah, it's Detroit's version of the deep dish pizza, like Chicago style pizza. So we went to Detroit to buy a Chicago style pizza, not a Detroit style pizza, just to kind of let people know.
But it's absolutely brilliant. Now the one thing though that whenever I think of Detroit though, I love the whole drive down Woodward. And what I love about Woodward so much now is, so, I spent so much time being in the States, and I remember the days of driving down Woodward where it was kind of like, people would say, listen, just look straight ahead. Don't look to your right. Don't look to your left. Just drive straight. If it's a yellow light, gun it through. If it's a red light, if it looks like there's somebody on the street, maybe just drive through too. It's changed so much.
Yeah.
We were walking. I mean, what time was it? 1:00, one in the afternoon,
yeah.
And there were, it was nice out. People roaming the streets, people walking up and down, and it's nice to see like that resurgence and that the reactivation of life on Woodward and seeing the shops. Now, I got to be honest, I'm still saddened, and some people will honestly tell me, there's the big debate over gentrification and things like that. But it makes me sad not to see the Hard Rock Cafe right by Campus Martius.
Yeah, I mean, you had a relationship with those guys, and you've been there a number of times.
And well, that and also that they were such a huge supporter of the downtown area. Before it even was, as it was just starting to grow and get bigger. It's like it's funny. I mean, like you said, I had a relationship there. Driving past, it's kind of like, oh, I miss it a little bit.
Yeah.
But with that being said, things change. Life goes on. Places move in. Places move out. It happens. But it was just it's cool because it's just nice to see Detroit, and it felt good to go back and see it. Now, one of the things you and I need to do, we need to go and do just and I don't want to say waste a day because it's never a waste, but I think you and I need to go to the DIA
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and just walk around.
And
Just
we promised the DIA folks that we were going to come back on our first trip, and we never made it out. So we have to go.
So maybe what we should do is see if the DIA will allow us to do this, and it might be kind of a fun idea if we were able to do a little FaceTiming every once in a while, where sitting maybe at the Kresge Court, tasting a Manhattan or something like that,
Sampling a Manhattan.
They're just absolutely. I'm telling you, they're absolutely brilliant. There, they've got some of the best Manhattans in the area.
I hear you, man.
But and speaking of Manhattans, the other thing is, and I'm going to say this to people, and I am a firm believer. I love small businesses and I love people who are working together and things like that. If you ever want a really amazing Manhattan, absolutely brilliant, 2 James Distillery in Corktown.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. And you're an old-fashioned guy.
I am.
They make absolutely, it'll make you cry a little bit. It's so good.
Yeah. There's a lot of great places in Corktown too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Corktown, you know what? There's Corktown is a fun place to go and wander and things like that. So if you're going back to Detroit, what's the one place that you want to go to?
Well, for sure the DIA is one. I'd love to go see a show at the Fox. I mean, I just miss that grandeur of really one of those iconic places. I mean, the Fox Theater is really in the top 10 theaters in the United States. The Illiches back in the late 70s had purchased that and restored it to its grandness that William Fox had it when he was building a chain of theaters around the United States in the 20s. So it's an absolutely phenomenal building to be in.
Yeah, it makes me happy. So, you know what? I'm hoping, fingers are crossed, that we get to keep the border open, because it was funny. I had so many people sending me messages going, "Oh my God, please come back and visit." And the one person I do have to say this to, Trish, I promise you, I will be coming over to play with all the puppies. So my friend Trish O'Donnell, I love her so much, and she's so passionate about rescuing dogs and animals, and she's got a couple of puppies that when I see her, I'm covered in dog hair because I'm on the ground rolling with her dogs, and it's been 20 months with that without. It's only been my dog hair,
Well,
I need to cheat. I need to cheat on the pack. So
awesome.
So Detroit, we missed you. We love you
for sure. But we'll be back. We'll be back. We promise.
We'll be back.
And we'll be back next week.
I hope so.
This has been Gnyp Gnop. I'm Chris Uzinski. That's Greg Gnyp. We'll see you guys next week.
See you. Bye.